at CSU's in this position. I thought it would work out for Jay Norvell. Did not work out the way I think many had hoped, certainly, and perhaps many thought Coach Prime. And I never did think, even when, I mean, this was not really a secret. I mean, Rick wasn't going to be in that role for years and years and years beyond now. He's done a tremendous job getting not just the football program, but the athletic department back onto solid footing. It's been a remarkable job in that regard, and he deserves credit for that. And he's going to be around. He's going to be involved in the football program, and it sounds like he's going to be heavily involved in getting the new AD up to speed, entrenched, and I think that's terrific. There's no need to build a new culture at CU. Rick George has put that in place. And, yeah, we could look at the football program and say there's work to do, and I think that's obvious after this year, and that Coach Prime needs to do some work, whether it be on the staff, whether it be in on the recruiting trail, whether it be in the portal. He's made no bones about that. But in general, when I think of the football program, I still think, that it's in pretty good hands. I'm not ready to throw the towel in on Coach Prime. That'd be crazy. It'd be absolutely crazy. No, he had a great year with two incredible players in his son Shadur and Travis last year, obviously, the Heisman winner. Some of the decisions didn't work, but I tell you what, when I saw what I saw out of Julian Lewis, what Juju did last week, again, assuming he stays, and I know you could say, Mike, that's a big assumption, and maybe it is, but if Julian Lewis stays, they've got that piece. They've got that piece, and that to me is the first piece you've got to have. First piece you got to have. So I think there's work to do for the Buffs. Is it when you have a change at athletic director, given what Rick has accomplished in Boulder, is it a little bit, is there some anxiety, some apprehension? Of course. Absolutely. You have to get the right person. You have to identify that person and then empower that person. I don't see any reason why the Buffs should fear being in this position, and I think the decisions. I have great optimism that whoever it is will come in and move things forward and build on what Rick has accomplished. So kudos to Rick George for what he's done, and again, I'm just choosing to believe that things are going to move forward for that athletic department and for this football team. Make no mistake, though. There's work to be done on the football side. There's work to be done. It's been a disappointing year. And let's hope that the problems are identified. Again, you go by what Coach Prime has said, and he says the right things. Hey, I know what needs to be fixed. I'm going to get it fixed. Okay. I'm willing to. I mean, you just signed him to a long-term deal. You're not giving in on that. You're not giving up on that. You can't afford to, even if you wanted to. They don't want to, and they shouldn't want to. A lot of people aren't convinced. I get it. I respect that. But realistically, they have no choice. And I'm gonna look to see what kind of moves that Coach makes and see if he can get the Buffs turned around. I don't think they're miles away like they were when he took over. I think that's the good news. At least that's the way I see it. A couple of thoughts from the night in college football. Georgia with no trouble against Texas. A lot of talk this morning about, where does that put Texas in the playoffs and all of the rest. Yeah, they were preseason number one. That was clearly overstating it. I think Texas is probably going to end up needing some help down the stretch. And let's see where the Longhorns land. OU with a huge win as they win at Alabama. That's going to shake up the top four for sure. You have all of the coaching, the coaching carousel, which seemingly is starting earlier and earlier now. Some reports that Virginia Tech is already talking to James Franklin. Lane Kiffin, after the Mississippi win over Florida, in which they trailed at halftime, but then shut down the Gators in the second half, saying, I love Ole Miss afterwards. And, of course, all the fans chanting, we want Lane. Well, you've got Lane. The question is, will you keep Lane? And if this were 10 years ago, I were a betting person, I would probably place a little wager on him leaving Ole Miss. I'm not so sure this time. I'm really not so sure. He's been at a certain level before. What he's done at Mississippi, I think, gives him that freedom because they're not usually in this position. And I think he likes that. I don't know for sure. But I don't think it's a given that Lane Kiffin's going to bolt. I really don't. And people at Ole Miss know what conference they're in. They know what it's going to take to keep a guy like that. I think they sweeten the pot. I do. Could anybody earn more at Florida? I would think so. Don't know for sure, but I would think so. On the RamosLaw.com text line, Rick George sold the university and their long-term finances at the expense of other programs for a couple of years of hype. I don't know. I don't know that that's fair. I don't know I don't know, because that's assuming that every year is going to be like this one in football. And I'm not willing to say that. Is it possible? Yeah. Texter, it's possible. I'll give you that. Because we don't know. We don't know exactly what the future holds. We don't know what kind of change. I look at where they were when he took over. They were one of the bottom feeders in FBS football. So did they sell their soul? No, I don't think so. If you want to be at a certain level, it takes a certain amount of resources. The hype generated can cover some of those resources. So, that's where I see the CU program. Yes, on the RamosLaw.com or the RamosLaw.com text line, we are, as we mentioned, we're bopping around a little bit this first segment, covering some things besides the NFL, and we'll be diving into the NFL in full-on regalia. So it's coming. It's coming. We've got 2 hours, and then we've got 2 more hours for the Fan Football pregame show. From the 4261, don't be fooled. Rick is getting out before the hits the fan. University has to pay out a lot of money to turn the program over again. We'll see. We'll see. And here's another point, and this is just the way college sports is now. From the 1737, those, quote, other programs weren't going to bring in money. And there's truth to that. So, look, I mean, some people, a lot of how one comes down on the whole CU situation depends on how you view Coach Prime, and I understand that. I don't think the university had much of a choice in signing him to a long-term deal, because if they didn't sign him to that deal, somebody else was going to, and he was going to be in. He does have to make some changes. Is there pressure to make those changes? Absolutely. You sign that contract, you want to live up to it.
Mike,
So,
is the seat hot?
In terms of Dion not being here?
Making the changes. The expectation
He has
to make certain changes. And when I asked that question along the lines of, your coaching staff, does it come with the shakeup of another play caller on offense, a whole new offensive scheme?
I think the offensive staff needs to be revamped. Yes, I do. And when you look at Pat Shurmur being taken out of the role of play caller in the middle of a season, I think it speaks to that. I mean, you don't do that if you think everything's okay, clearly. And I wasn't a big fan of the hire when it was made. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. Didn't necessarily like it. And there was some conflict reportedly between Coach Lewis and Shador, and that's why that was at least part of the reason, if not the reason, for that change at that time. So, no, they've got to identify a dynamic play caller that can come in. And I think the first order of business is to make sure that Julian Lewis stays. because and again, it's going to be really interesting if he stays healthy and plays out the year. His redshirt year is gone, and I know the meaning of a redshirt year has changed with the portal. And if he plays out, his first year is done, and he'll be back as a sophomore. I think if he sits out one more game, he still has that eligibility for a redshirt. So there's a lot of question marks, but I'm just not. I mean, I'm looking at the big picture of where this program was 3 short years ago, and yeah, they've stumbled this year, and that's not good. And is it a pass I'm giving him in terms of the attention and all of that? I think, okay, now the work begins after what's been a tough year. I mean, it's been a tough year whether or not I give him a pass or not.
Well, it's just hard to watch, Mike, because you sit back.
It is hard to watch.
You don't really have the biggest expectations for the Buffs at this point, right? You just hope that they're somewhat competitive down the stretch, and they go out on a good note, right? Obviously, Senior Day is coming up this week, and they've got a pretty strong task ahead of themselves. I believe that the Sun Devils are in town this week, and they're not – Coach Dillingham, usually has those guys ready to play. I mean, Arizona State, even with their backup quarterback,
it's a good team.
They still are a formidable team. They've got a formidable defense. They've got a number 1 draft pick, not a number 1 draft pick, but a first-round draft pick at wide receiver over there. He's a monster. So, I mean, if CU can look competitive versus Arizona State, that's the only thing you can hope for up there in Buffs country.
All right, Nuggets get a big win. This time they do beat the Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards, even though the Nuggets won't have Christian Brown now for a number of weeks, and Cam Johnson's shaken up too. I know Joker didn't have his best game. He still winds up with a triple-double. The Nuggets wind up with a really good win, and they're rolling. And they're going to keep rolling. If they stay healthy, the Nuggets and the Thunder right now are the 2 favorites in my mind to win the NBA title. Now, there's a long, long way to go. But it's just so fun to see where the Nuggets are and how some of the offseason moves have paid dividends. The Avs are rolling. They've won, 5 in a row. They host the Isles tonight. And it's an interesting situation there in net with Wedgwood getting the 1-year extension and seemingly now being the number 1 goalie, and it's up to Mackenzie Blackwood to sort of wrest that away from him, and we'll see how all of that shakes out. And, of course, the big one today, the Broncos and the Chiefs. In case you weren't with us, Adam Schefter with a really, I think, spot-on tweet. And it's easy in a case like this, Sean, to overhype a matchup. The Broncos are 8-2. The Chiefs are 5-5. I'm going to read Adam's tweet because I agree with it.
Okay.
Broncos officials consider Sunday's game versus the Chiefs the biggest NFL game in Denver in almost a decade since the 2016 AFC Championship game in which Peyton Manning and Tom Brady squared off against each other for the final time in their NFL careers. On that day, Denver beat New England 20-18 to advance to Super Bowl 50. I think that's true. There are so many, when you look at the big picture of this game and the stakes and what could happen given either result, you have the Chiefs, who have been the class of the division, the class of the AFC, perennial Super Bowl participant over the last half dozen years, and they're now looking up at the Broncos with a 5-5 record. They're 3 full games behind Denver, or 5-4.
Yeah, 5-4. I didn't want to correct you.
Yeah, no, 5-4. Okay. So 2.5 games back, and the Broncos, the Chiefs will gain that game back next week when the Broncos have their bye.
The Chargers are 6-3.
Yeah, Chargers are right there, lurking. 7-3, I believe.
7-3.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So they're right there. But in terms of who's been ruling the AFC, we know it's been the Chiefs. And could the Broncos really relegate the Chiefs to being a team that's chasing for one of the end playoff spots? If they lose today, it doesn't mean they're out of the division picture. It just means that from the Kansas City perspective, things get a whole lot more difficult.
Yeah, it tightens the race up for all three teams that are in contention right now. So you can kind of look at this game as a AFC West championship game. Not AFC West championship.
Yeah,
game.
in a sense, yes, because if the Broncos send the Chiefs to 5-5, then they're 3 games ahead in the loss column with only one matchup with Kansas City to go.
Mm-hmm.
So the Chiefs would obviously need help, and they'd also have to leapfrog the Chargers. So from that standpoint, it's huge. The other question that this brings up to me, and if you want to weigh in on the RamosLaw.com text line, feel free. Would love to hear from you. 303-713-1043. I'm just fascinated by both the big picture and then the matchup itself, given some of the injuries and all, and we're going to dive into that shortly. But continuing along the big picture, when you look at the Broncos and where they want to get to, we're talking about the Buffs coming from the bottom of the barrel. That's where the Broncos have been coming from. They've been ascending. Last year it got accelerated. I think I'll speak for myself. I didn't predict they would be a playoff team last year. I was hoping that they would be in the hunt for the playoffs this year, a back-end type of spot. Now they're in the hunt for the AFC West title, which I think is a great place to be. And yet the way they've played, particularly on offense, John, brings up the question of believability. Can that kind of production or lack of production be a formula for the Broncos to continue their ascension? And I think a lot of people, more so nationally than here in Broncos country, have doubts about that. And I think the doubts are fair. I do. When you're struggling to put up points on a regular basis, and even in games you're winning, for large chunks of those games, you're looking inept at best offensively. I think the questions about whether or not that style can be something that is a style you can rely on is a fair point. I do. I think it's a fair question.
Well, here's what we do know, right? As November approaches, we are fairly lucky here in the great state of Colorado that we haven't experienced any first snow yet, right? The game gets much tighter once the weather gets colder and the possessions get shorter, right? So I think in a game like today, you have to take your you've got to take a lot of optimism into this game. If you're the Denver Broncos, you're the underdog. You're playing with house's money, right? So it's a situation where, the Chiefs have a 5-4 record, and they gain everything by winning this game, but they stand to lose a lot and going to 500 if they so happen to lose. And then the Broncos are in the driver's seat in the AFC West. And then, also, Mike, I wanted to note this as well. The Chargers are on the road playing an 11 o'clock game down in Jacksonville.
Yep.
The Broncos have the potential to be able to go and be the only team 1-0 in the division this weekend, because I'm already chalking it up that the Raiders will lose to the Cowboys at home on Monday night.
On the RamosLaw.com text line, we must have at least one Chiefs fan who's already made the invasion.
Uh-oh.
From the 3095.
All right.
Denver has only one win versus a team with a winning record. Total fraud. KC going to slap Denver. Bo Nix is straight trash.
I mean, that's a sentiment that not only will you hear from different teams that are rivaling with the with the Broncos, but those are actual sentiments that I hear at the bowling alley from Denver Broncos fans.
It's part of what makes what the Broncos have done this year remarkable, to be 8-2, given how they've played much of the time offensively.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the defense has been, if you're just going to say, the defense is just the beneficiary of playing some teams that have turned out to struggle some through a little over half the season, I don't think that's giving the defense the credit that they deserve. Up next, we'll dive a little bit deeper into this Broncos-Chiefs matchup. Could the injury to J.K. Dobbins allow the Broncos to do something that they've had trouble doing consistently? That's next.
Peyton Manning here. Throughout my football career, staying healthy was a big priority, but bumps, bruises, and injuries were part of the game. And for me, it's not just the clinical excellence and expertise that sets a medical team apart. It's also the compassion, kindness, and empathy they show. At CommonSpirit Health, healing is quality care and human kindness. And my friends at CommonSpirit are teaming up with their partners to spread human CommonSpirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Skate anytime they want, right in your own backyard. With Yard Rink, they can. In about an hour, you can transform your yard into an amazing outdoor rink. It's easy to set up and plays like a professional had a yard rink when he was a kid. Order today at yardrink.com and save hundreds by using code RADIO21. Nearly 300 sizes are available, starting at just $9.99. Plus, get 2 puck retention nets and your favorite NHL team logos free. That's YARDRINK.com. And save 21% by using code RADIO21. Give your kids more fun-filled ice time and help their hockey dreams come true.
Small leaks, big headaches. Get help before winter hits. Visit CopperheadPlumbingInc.com for a coupon to waive your service call fee and see financing options.
Copperhead Plumbing, built to last. Call us once, you'll forget the past.
Copperhead Plumbing, keeping your home flowing all winter long.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. When you buy an engagement ring or fine jewelry gift from Shane Company, you get more than what you paid for. Our jewelry comes with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. It covers everything. There's no fine print. You'll get unlimited cleanings, resizings, and repairs. Plus, it even protects your engagement ring's center stone. We stand behind the quality of our jewelry, and that's our gift to you this holiday. Peace of mind. Because a friend knows the best things in life are free. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
At Berg Simpson, we are passionate about what we do. We bring that passion and our expertise to the office and courtroom every single day. We're always working hard and are committed to doing everything we can to give our clients the best opportunity to have a great result.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives. It's not just a slogan, it's who we are.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs, with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service.
As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Getting you set for today's game. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Gameday, powered by CommonSpirit Health, official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos.
Denver Gameday, Mike and Sean with you until noon. About a half an hour away from checking in with Seren Petro of Chiefs Radio. Fair to say, and I don't know who he'll pick. My guess is he would pick the Chiefs to win this game. Sean and I will have our pick as we get towards the end of the show, and we'll set the stage for John and Kyle down at Mile High Station, and they'll have the fan football pregame show starting at noon. Diving into this Broncos-Chiefs matchup, if you want to weigh in, do so on the RamosLaw.com text line. It's great. From the 3095. Oh wait, no, he already got his Broncos slap down in. No, we're not going to get. We got more.
Too much slander could
we don't
want
to.
bad for your breakfast.
You know, it's like I know Chiefs Kingdom is I'm sure has all of the factoids ready. And, we know that J.K. Dobbins. So the Broncos will be without some key players. J.K. Dobbins, Patrick Surtain, Alex Singleton, Jonah Ellis, Nate Adkins are really the top guys that'll be out. And when you look at the top of the top, Dobbins and Surtain and Singleton maybe a notch below. Dobbins has been incredible. And we know that what he has done has been so big to the Broncos' success this year. He's been a rock. He's been the most consistent performer offensively. He's been the guy that they've been able to rely on. 772 yards, 77 yards per game, 4 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry. And so when you think about, okay, how do the Broncos go about trying to beat the Chiefs today without that guy, the first question is, what do the Broncos look like offensively, Sean? And I want to spend a little bit of time. And if you want to play Broncos head coach, feel free to text us on the RamosLaw.com text line what your formula offensively would be for the Broncos. 303-713-1043. Dobbins is averaging 15 carries per ball game. To many, that's low. Many people would like him to be around 20, whatever. And again, I've made the point before, that's not typically what Sean Payton does with his running backs. But nonetheless, when you have a guy like Dobbins, I completely understand it. R.J. Harvey has 214 yards on 50 rushing attempts. So he's at 5 rushing attempts per game. So if you take 15 on average attempts for J.K. Dobbins, and you say, all right, we don't have that guy, what does the offense look like? I want to make the case that I think Sean Payton, given his druthers, wouldn't mind throwing the ball a little bit more. Now, the Broncos are up there in terms of carries per game as a team. They're about 27 or so on average. So they've been running the ball, I think, more than people tend to realize. People anticipate his carries going up to that 15-ish range. Or does Sean say, look, I'm going to use that short passing game more as a running game, and I'm going to get other guys involved. Marvin Mims is back. And I know I'm not saying the screen game per se only. That's only one way he could do it. Here's my point. Does Sean say, look, I kind of want to throw the ball a little bit more anyway, so this is going to give me a chance to get Bo in rhythm, and this is going to give me a chance to do some things with Bo that we haven't done yet consistently, partly because J.K. Dobbins has been so effective. We haven't had to do some more and put not more in terms of the playbook on Bo's plate, but more in terms of opportunities to throw the football.
Mike, I want to shed a little light on the situation and expound upon what you're saying right now. What you can count on is a rookie. We call it the Ewing effect. A rookie that stepped up when their number was called. So I wanted to look at something earlier today, and I decided to say, let me look up who was the most impactful rookie that stepped up when a star player or a key contributor got hurt. And what I came up with was a guy by the name of Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was in the offense underneath Sean Payton in 2017 when they traded Adrian Peterson week 4, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Alvin Kamara finished the season with 1,500 yards in total offense and 13 touchdowns. Mike.
Are you making the case for Harvey?
I'm just trying to say, man, if Harvey can give you a glimpse of that, even half of that production, 750 could be that productive and still have touchdowns while they still allow Bo Nix to mature in the offense and you put more on his plate. If you're going to throw the ball more, Coach Payton, then that means you have to continue to simplify things for Bo Nix.
But remember, when it comes to R.J. Harvey, he can be a guy that Sean utilizes in the passing game just as well as he can
running the ball.
He ran the ball hard
at UCF. I mean, he was a monster.
From the 1630 on the RamosLaw.com text line, give Harvey the ball. And Sean Capps needs to be patient with his 3 yards per so he can get his 40 to 50-yard breaks.
I don't see that happening today.
You don't see Harvey ripping off a big one?
He might. He might be able to do one, but I tell you what, there's a guy that gets paid over there by the name of Chris Jones. And he is a supreme run stopper if he decides that he wants to be in his bag that day. So, it's going to be on the Broncos' interior offensive line, the guards, the centers. It's going to be on them to, like Carol Loftus, they become X factors, and they give Bo Nix trouble because he's going to be on his backside.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting. Obviously, Harvey's going to get a bigger workload. The question is, how many of those will be in the run game and how many of those will be in the pass game?
You can't limit him.
No, and I think Sean Payton would be silly not to use R.J. Harvey.
Half and half. I need seven touches on the ground, 7 and at least 4 in the air. Right?
I think he gets more than 12 touches in the game. I think he has to. Point, you can't just ignore the running back position.
You can't run screens though all game neither.
No, I don't think you have to run screens to. I mean, Harvey as a check down is going to be an option for Bo Nix, and while that's not going to be the number one option on many plays, it might be an option that Bo has to take because either the pass rush is there or Bo decides to hold on to it. Other guys aren't open. I mean, again, the Chiefs' defense is more than respectable. But I would expect R.J. Harvey, I think everybody expects R.J. Harvey to take a pretty full load today. What that means as far as carries, I think he'll be in that 12 to 15 range carrying the football, and I think we're going to see Bo use him out of dynamic because I think our texter makes a good point. Sean does need to be patient, and I think this is going to be a lower-scoring game. And yet, if you think about the running game being a way that the team can control the football, clearly that's the case. I think the Broncos, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they try to control that tempo using the short passing game as well. I think that's going to be part of the arsenal today.
Pardon me. I wanted to drop another jewel in here, right? A guy by the name, a rookie running back, Travion Henderson,
yes,
for the New England Patriots, right, has somewhat of the same archetype as R.J. Harvey. Explosive, downhill, runs behind his pads, can get shifty in space. So all those things compiled together should give the Denver Broncos fan base a lot of optimism going forward throughout the rest of the season.
Interesting text here on the RamosLaw.com line. Hardcore Chiefs fan, Chris Jones is great, but he is below average versus the run. The Chiefs' defense gives up 104.5 yards per game rushing, success in other ways through the air. I really believe that. And again, is that going to be easy? No, I don't think it's going to be easy. Is it doable? I think it is doable.
Well, Mike, you're going to give up 100 yards a game when everybody's game against you is the Super Bowl. Right? At the end of the year, hey, we beat the Chiefs. We didn't make the playoffs, but we beat the Chiefs.
Well,
that'd be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, but I don't think the Broncos are looking at it that way. I think the Broncos are looking at it like, again, going back to the big picture of the stakes of the game. If we want to be where we think we can be and where we want to get to, we have to win a game like this on our home field. We have to figure, even without the guys that won't be playing, even without, Patrick Surtain defensively, even without J.K. Dobbins offensively. Are those big losses? Absolutely. But, again, we're going to get a glimpse of where the Broncos stand in the process of becoming a legitimate AFC West contender. They're legitimate in that you don't make apologies for being 8-2. There's context to it. There are reasons for it. All of the rest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they also need to do it against a team like the Chiefs, which have been the gold standard, not only in the AFC West, but in the NFL over the last 6 years. Let's flip it around to the Broncos defense. Can they slow down Patrick Mahomes, even without Patrick Surtain? That's next.
Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan is on a mission to feed families this holiday season.
4:30,
and we
sir.
need your help. As part of our Fill the Truck campaign, we'll be collecting canned goods and non-perishable food items to benefit the Food Bank of the Rockies November 19th, 20th, and 21st. So stop by the Walmart Supercenter in Highlands Ranch near C470 in Quebec from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and help us fill the truck for those in need. Head to denversports.com/truck for more info. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown." Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Cake Mortgage Corp. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS number 1734623. Licensed in Colorado by the Division of Real Estate. Terms and conditions apply. These days, we expect everything fast. Streaming, food delivery, even same-day shipping. So why should using the equity in your home to get cash be any different? At Cake Mortgage, we get fast. We just got a client approved for $300,000 in under 24 hours with our Cake Fast Cash program. If you're struggling with high-interest debt, roll it into one low monthly payment and save hundreds or more each month. The best part? You'll keep your current mortgage rate and only pay for what you use. Cake Mortgage. Your fresh-baked fast cash loan is ready to enjoy. So don't wait. Call 720-850-0012. That's 720-850-0012. Or visit cakehome.com for thousands of five-star reviews.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-743-8989. 800-743-8989. 800-743-8989.
Durable coverage, it starts at the top.
Hi everyone, Mark Allman here, owner of Colorado Preferred Roofing. Wherever you are on the Front Range, hail damage isn't always easy to spot, and the last thing you want to do is discover damage late in the season. That's why we offer a comprehensive property inspection to catch issues early and give you the peace of mind that you need. Schedule your free inspection today at coloradopreferredroofing.com. We're never too busy to protect what matters most.
Durable coverage, it starts at the top.
Colorado Preferred Roofing.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Getting you set for today's game. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Gameday. Powered by CommonSpirit Health, official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos.
Nothing like a big game
Nothing like a big one. Broncos haven't had a game like this for a decade. Mike and Sean on Denver Gameday, RamosLaw.com text line. It's always fun to go back and forth with members of Chiefs Kingdom. It is. It's going to be fun to see how this game unfolds. Hey, I get why Kansas City feels like, and many national people who don't have a dog in the hunt, I get why a lot of people feel like Kansas City's just not only going to win, but going to roll. I really do. Our buddy on, I think it's Kyle. Kyle. Kyle is from Chiefs Kingdom. He's been giving us some grief on the RamosLaw.com text line, which I think is great. He says,
I've been watching them. I've been listening.
Oh yeah. He says, I'd be worried if Stidham was playing. I said, no, you wouldn't be. You'd be feeling exactly how you would be now. I mean, come on. And I love it. You know, you root for your team. You find reasons that you think your team is going to win, and the Chiefs are in that position. I mean, you know, they're 5-4. Even if they do roll today, they got more work to do than the Broncos do. So if the Chiefs are that great, they'll come in and show it, and they'll expose things that the Broncos don't do well, and there'll be no excuses. I mean, it's the opportunity's right there. The opportunity is there for the Chiefs to show that the Broncos aren't as good as their record would indicate, and that Kansas City is a team that is better than a barely above 500 record indicates. That opportunity is there for the Chiefs, and the opportunity for the Broncos is to say, you know, we can have success and win a big game in a situation against the gold standard, the team that's been the measuring stick for, again, not just AFC West teams, but for NFL teams. You look at what the Chiefs have done. It's been remarkable, and I think that's what makes this matchup so compelling and so fascinating on really every level. And we're sort of diving down into some of the nitty gritty of it, and we know that Patrick Surtain will again be out for the Broncos. We know that Riley Moss, Jaquan McMillan, Chris Abrams-Drain, Jahdae Barron are at least 4 cornerbacks that are going to see action. And if you're Vance Joseph, Sean, we said, okay, to people listening, you're Sean Payton. What are you devising as a scheme, as a game plan? Now we flip it to the Broncos defense. If you're Vance Joseph, what are you doing against Patrick Mahomes and now Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce? I know the Chiefs don't have running back Isaiah Pacheco. Look, I get Kareem Hunt isn't maybe what he was.
Oh, he's still getting the job
6
done.
years ago. That's a physical running back that's going to be going downhill at you defensively. How do the Broncos try and slow this group down?
Well, I think it starts with the X factor for the Kansas City Chiefs. You can have the shiny weapons that are really fast going downfield, and Worthy, and as well as Rashee Rice, and Tyquan Thornton is a guy that he can sneak up on you by surprise and he could beat you. But it's going to come down to limiting the checkdowns to Travis Kelce. If the Chiefs are limited in their production from Travis Kelce, the Broncos have a really good chance at neutralizing the Chiefs' offense, and then, you know, getting them off the field in down in distances, and then getting the ball back to Bo Nix to create opportunities to score points.
I mean, Kelce is huge, and from that standpoint,
Mike, I had to check myself on the head. I'm like, am I okay? Is this the same Sean that was talking a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Cowboys versus the Broncos?
Am I recalling right that you kind of like Dallas's chances in that game?
Am
I recalling right there, my friend?
I got to be a man and eat my crow on the live.
Hey, you know what? Some of us have a little more belief than others. I still love you. You know that. Here's in all seriousness, though, you mentioned Travis Kelce and what he's capable of, and you know maybe he's not exactly at the level that he was a few years ago. Understandable, but he's still one of the best ever at that position. And he and Mahomes have that mojo, that chemistry, that connection, all of the rest that you have to respect. But the Broncos have Dre Greenlaw. And I'm really interested to see if VJ matches Greenlaw on Kelsey, and I'm sure it's going to happen. The question is how much. Because I think Greenlaw is a guy that can, has the physicality to match up, and I think he's got enough of the speed and agility to be able to match up with a big athletic receiver. I know he's a tight end.
It's about IQ.
Like Kelsey. Yeah, somebody brought up earlier this week how in that 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl, before Greenlaw went out, he was doing a pretty good job on Kelsey. And I had forgotten that. And, look, if Patrick Mahomes is going to look for Travis Kelsey and be determined to get him involved, Kelsey's going to put up some numbers. I mean, you have to figure that. I don't think it's realistic to think the Broncos are going to hold the Chiefs to, 7 points today. But I like Greenlaw in that matchup, or at least the possibility of putting him on. I actually think the Broncos, I think VJ is going to mix things up on how he covers Kelsey. I think you have to obviously respect Kareem Hunt and his physicality running the football. I know it's not Pacheco. I know it's a different skill set. And Rashee Rice, obviously, on the outside and even in the Wildcat, getting a carry here and there. I think his versatility brings some things. But ultimately, it's all about Mahomes, and it's all about Mahomes' ability. When the Broncos have an opportunity to sack Patrick Mahomes, they got to make the play. They got to get him to the ground. I know that's easier said than done. He's a big, physical quarterback that can move around, obviously, that can make plays off script, off schedule. But this Broncos pass rush is generating 4.5 sacks per game. And when they have the opportunity, and I do think they'll have some opportunities because they can rush effectively with just 4 guys. I think VJ is going to have to be calculated in how much pressure he brings, what situation he brings that pressure. I'm hopeful the Broncos will be able to generate some pressure, and when they do, Sean, they've got to make the play on Mahomes.
Okay, so this guy is a magic man waiting to happen when he plays here in Denver. You've seen this guy throw underhand. You've seen him throw behind his back. You've seen him throw with the left hand behind his back on your field, in an empowered field, right?
Yeah, so, he's a great player.
The things that he's able to do are, it's unmatched, and so you have to think that the Denver Broncos pass rush is going to get home today. In order for them to make their hay, Nick Benito's he's the guy that stirs the drink. And we're gonna talk X Factor stuff here in a minute, Mike. So don't get me started.
Okay.
Let's just I'll hold off on that until we'll put a pin in that for now, and we're gonna get back to that in just a minute.
All right. Broncos and Chiefs in a big game. We're going to go to Kansas City. We will catch up with Seren Petro, who does a great job with Chiefs Radio WHB, and get a feeling for what they're thinking back there. That's next. Denver Gameday continues.
The Broncos' backfield just suffered a major loss. J.K. Dobbins is being placed on injured reserve with a foot injury that will require season-ending surgery. With his contract set to expire, has one of this year's most productive rushers played his last game in Denver. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
This is Rob Wilhite of the Wilhite Law Firm. If you've been seriously injured in a truck or car wreck, you want Wilhite. We've been voted Best Personal Injury Law Firm for the last 3 years in a row. Call 303-GOOD-LAW or visit WilhiteWins.com and win big with Wilhite.
It's Toyotathon at Groove Toyota, and our used lot is stacked. Choose from hundreds of used and Toyota certified vehicles, from Colorado-ready SUVs to reliable commuters, plus over 25 vehicles under $10,000. If you want selection and value, you won't find a better lineup anywhere else. Lock in your deal now before the clock runs out. Shop today online at GrooveToyota.com or on Broadway in Inglewood. Groove Toyota. Start here. Go anywhere.
Peyton Manning here. Throughout my football career, staying healthy was a big priority, but bumps, bruises, and injuries were part of the game. And for me, it's not just the clinical excellence and expertise that sets a medical team apart. It's also the compassion, kindness, and empathy they show. At CommonSpirit Health, healing is quality care and human kindness. And my friends at CommonSpirit are teaming up with their partners to spread human kindness and create healthy communities. CommonSpirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Happy holidays from Done Right Home Improvements. Putting off that home makeover till after the holidays? Well, good, because book your project now for install after and save 16% or get a great financing deal. drhi.com.
Hey, Stokely here, and let me tell you, fall golf is the best golf Colorado has to offer, and it's not too late to get fully dialed in for the last few months of the season. At Embers Golf in Westminster, they're not just selling golf clubs, they're crafting a journey for golf lovers like you. It's a boutique-style shop, family-owned, with 2 hitting bays, all the major brands, and fully upgraded custom shafts. Come in for a full bag fitting. Trust me, there's nothing else like it around. Embers Golf, where your golf journey begins.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
It's Senior Day at Folsom Field on Saturday, November 22nd. Celebrate the Buff senior class as Colorado football takes on the reigning Big 12 champions, Arizona State. It's also the CU Athletics Hall of Fame celebration as we honor and welcome back Buffs legends. The 2025 induction class includes football greats Jeff Campbell, Mason Crosby, and Barry Remington. Grab your tickets now at cubuffs.com/tickets or call 303-492-8282.
Mike Evans here for Copperhead Plumbing. Your home doesn't have to flood before you know there's a problem. With the Mow and Flow Smart Water Shutoff System, you can monitor your home's water usage in real time right from your phone. You'll get notified the moment a leak starts. Trust Copperhead Plumbing for professional installation. Ask about installing a Mow and Flow system today.
Copperhead Plumbing, built to last. Call us once, you'll forget the past.
Copperhead Plumbing. They plumb different. They plumb custom.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. Getting you set for today's game. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Gameday. Powered by CommonSpirit Health, official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos.
Big one, big one at Empower Field today. Broncos host the Chiefs. Mike Rice, Sean Boyd on Denver Game Day, taking you up till noon, so an hour to go with us, and then we will gladly hand the baton to John Davis and Kyle Reese, who will come to you live from Mile High Station downtown and get you set for the Broncos and the Chiefs kickoff at 2:25. The number one announcing team for CBS is back in town to call this one. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson will be on the call. They've had their share of Chiefs games. RamosLaw.com text line is wide open, 303-713-1043. In just a few moments, we'll go to Kansas City. We will connect with Seren Petro of Chiefs Radio WHB, who has been covering sports in that town for about a quarter century, and he will kind of give us the pulse of what's going on, not only with the team, but also the fan base, Chiefs Kingdom. Eli weighs in on the RamosLaw.com text line. Happy Sunday, fellas. I not only put the sledgehammer to the over 11.5 wins back in February, but I'm hitting the Broncos win button today. Let's bow. So Eli is ready. Where are you in all of that? It's going to be a really fun game, a fascinating game. And we head to Kansas City and welcome in a good friend and a guy who does a tremendous job for Chiefs Radio WHB, Seren Petros. Seren, it's been a minute since the roles have been reversed with the Broncos having the upper hand in the one-loss record, and yet is this a believable Broncos team from the standpoint of people in KC?
Yeah, I think so. I think, listen, Chiefs fans are confident. They've seen a lot of success out of this team, and whenever you have Patrick Mahomes, I think Bronco fans know the kind of confidence they have when they had John Elway and Peyton Manning playing at a high level. There's no fear, but there's certainly respect, and they know that even though the Broncos have only won once against the Chiefs in the Sean Payton era, they've done a great job. They've been a bad matchup for the Chiefs, that they seem to be able to drag the Chiefs into rock fights, and they know it's going to be a game. There's confidence, but they know it's not going to be an easy game by any stretch, regardless of who may or may not be playing.
I see it as something of a rock fight today. Do you?
I think so. I mean, I think the Chiefs have a lot of answers. If you look at some of the analytics, they played really bad against Buffalo. If that's who they are, then yes, it's going to be a rock fight. If they had a bad scheme, and I think really probably Andy Reid and Matt Nagy and Steve Spagnuolo would tell you that they got beat on the X's and O's part of it in Buffalo. Before that, and even with that game, they're like number 2. You look at the yards per play and the yards per game offensively, they're moving back up into the top 5, top couple of teams. If they can play like that, if that's who they are, then I think they have the opportunity to create some separation in this game, to capitalize, to be able to just put more points on the board than the Broncos offense can keep up with. But it starts with handling a pass rush, handling Nick Bonito. We think Josh Simmons is going to play. He's back after being gone for quote-unquote family matters, although nobody will say what they are, which usually tends to make me think it's a HIPAA deal, and so it's not a family matter. But they're not saying. So he's back, and if he's playing left tackle, and if he's as effective as he was before he left, and he's not playing football for 5 weeks, I don't think he'll be super sharp to start. But if he's close to what he was, then they're a much better team, and I think a lot of the success that Buffalo had will be tough to recreate, because Josh Simmons is a talent over there at left tackle.
When you look at the Broncos pass rush, and you mentioned Bonito, we know it's not just Nick, it's Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen in the middle. Do you think the Broncos are capable of getting pressure with 4 on Mahomes today?
I think the Broncos, I think I read that they have the 3rd highest blitz rate. We know they blitz more than Steve Spagnuolo, which around here is kind of, blasphemy. Everyone thinks Steve Spagnuolo is this mad scientist that just blitzes all the time, and to see those numbers, it was kind of surprising. So do I think they can? I mean, they shouldn't be able to. The Chiefs' offensive line is extraordinarily expensive, cap-wise, pick investments, but teams have been able to get pressure on them with 4. And if they do, it's going to be a long day for the Chiefs. They have to have a better answer than what they had against Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes was 15 of 33 against the Bills. That was the first time he was below 50% since he debuted at Texas Tech, his sophomore year at Texas Tech, or maybe it was even late in his freshman year. He came in relief in a game, and that was the last time he was below 50% completion. So the Bills clearly, had a good plan, and they got after him. Again, Josh Simmons didn't play in that game. We think he'll play in this game. That should make them better equipped to handle the rush. But if the Broncos are getting there with 4, the Broncos are going to have a real good day.
Sean Boyd here, sir. I wanted to ask you a question, Petro. If we can flip over to the defensive side of things, and we're looking for somebody else on the defensive line that's not named Chris Jones to have an impact on today's game, who would you say that would be?
Well, I mean, I would say even before that, Chiefs fans are looking for Chris Jones to have an impact on the game. I mean, Chris Jones, I think, is largely living on reputation. Is he their best defensive lineman still? Yes, he is. But is he the Chris Jones that was capable of 15 sacks in a season? It certainly doesn't look like it. He had 5 or 6 sacks last year. He's only got 2 this year. Now, the Chiefs' defensive coaching staff will quickly start talking about pressures and double teams and all those things. Well, that was all there in the past, and Chris Jones would still get 10-plus sacks. That's not happening these days with Chris Jones, and so that's a problem. If he will be a guy that they have to account for. He will be the number 1 guy that everybody pays attention to. George Karlaftis is the next best player. They gave him a contract extension, and for good reason. He's had 10 sacks in the league. He's on pace for 10 sacks again this year. He is a good to very good defensive end, but he's not Nick Bonito, right? He's not one of those guys that no matter what you do, he can get to the quarterback before the quarterback even gets set up. He doesn't have that kind of ability. He's more of a coverage sack type of guy. He's a try hard, never give up, keep working type of defensive end. He would be the next guy that I would account for if I was the offensive coordinator for the Broncos. But then after that, literally nothing. I mean, the Chiefs have gotten almost nothing from anybody else. Broncos have 46 sacks. The Chiefs have 18. Granted, only 9 games, but still only 18 sacks. So they are not – they really – defensively, you're going to look at their overall numbers and say this is a pretty good defense, and it is, but it's because of the back end, the coverage units, the depth of corners, the fact that their third and fourth corner are still really good players, the fact that Brian Cook as a safety has stepped up. But up front, if they want to get pressure, they've had to blitz, and they've been able to do it because of how good they are in the back on coverage. But if you have a good game plan, tight ends have hurt the Chiefs a lot. The Bills the Chiefs gave up their first 100-yard receiver, and I think it was basically 30 some odd games, and it was to Dalton Kincaid at the tight end spot. So that's really where they've been vulnerable, and I think they'll be vulnerable again today because I don't know why we would suddenly think that a lot of pressure is going to be applied. I'll say this. The Broncos' offensive line is one of the best in football. If somehow the Chiefs are getting pressure on Bo Nix on a regular basis, something has gone horribly wrong for the Denver Broncos because it just shouldn't happen today.
Interesting. Soren Petro of Chiefs Radio WHB with us on Denver Gameday. Soren, without J.K. Dobbins, what do you think the Chiefs are planning for from Sean Payton and Bo Nix offensively to make up for J.K.'s carries?
I think we're going to see more of Harvey. I mean, I know that's a back that I think a lot of people liked, the speed. I know we've been kind of waiting from afar for him to become the Alvin Kamara, for this to be the Ingram and Kamara combo that Sean Payton had in New Orleans. That seemed to be the view, like J.K. Dobbins would be the hammer and Harvey would be the home run hitter. And so now you take away the hammer. My assumption is he'll plug in the next running back and it'll still be a two-headed approach, more of Harvey than I think probably we've seen before, but I would expect them to continue to run the ball because I think they'd be foolish to say, okay, it's all on Bo Nix. I mean, I think Bo Nix is obviously struggling a bit, and so to say, well, it's all on you, kid, I think would be unwise. So I think they're going to count on their defense to be effective against the Chiefs, the rock fight we talked about to happen, to not feel a need to have to score on every possession, that a punt is not the worst thing in the world, and to try to keep the time of possession in their favor and keep the Chiefs offense off the field. So I don't think there's a whole lot different that they can do, but, we saw the Chargers pitch backwards in the opener down in Brazil where Steve Spagnuolo came out ready for them to ground and pound with Marion Hampton and their running attack, and they were dropping back to throw on every down, and it was really effective. So I don't think you're going to do that with Bo Nix. I don't think he's, Herbert at this point in his career, so I would assume that it's still going to be a running game, and they're going to count on the defense to really keep him in this game.
Petro, this is Sean again. I want to ask a question in regards to, you touched on the secondary for the Kansas City Chiefs. If you were to be able to who would you say would be the anchor to neutralizing Bo Nix and confusing him and throwing off his timing?
Steve Spagnuolo will be the answer to that. I mean, he will give him different looks like Bo Nix, and he's seen it before. I mean, he's not, he saw him last year, so it's not going to be completely foreign, but he does a great job of disguising what they want to do. And with Denver not having, maybe like a true number one wide receiver, I don't know that he'll be, traveling Trent McDuffie with any one person. I think you'll see McDuffie in the slot some. I think you'll see them coming with blitzes out of the corners. I think that's something that he likes to do, and he's got guys that can do it. All the Chiefs corners are physical players. They're good tacklers, and so I think he'll try to change things up in the back. Shamari Connor, I think they're a little higher on him than maybe some of the rest of us are, but he's kind of their Swiss Army knife, a real good tackler. He's playing safety now, but he came into the league as a corner, and so you can really make it look like you've got three safeties, but they feel like they can cover. At least two of their three safeties that play the most can really cover well, better than average. But then they can also throw at you, a look that is basically looks like you're playing, dime, and then roll them back into a deep coverage. So, Spagnuolo is going to be multiple, and he's going to have to blitz. So I think for the Broncos and Bo Nix, it's going to be figuring out where are the Chiefs coming from. And they do a good job of disguising it. They don't, they're not antsy with guys running up to the line of scrimmage. They do a good job of holding their position and not giving away what they're going to do. And so it's going to be important for them to figure out where the Chiefs are coming from, because they will be coming today, because they're not going to get there with the 4 up front.
Yeah, it's interesting, Seren, in looking at the Chiefs' defense, and obviously I haven't seen them as much or as in much detail as you have, following the team every week. But, I mean, they struggle a little bit on third down. While they're good in turnover margin, as you said, they haven't generated a ton of pressure. How would you just generally rate the defensive performance as a whole?
You know, I think it's been – look, Steve Spagnuolo is the highest paid, or at least going into last year, was the highest paid assistant coach in football, and I think for a good reason. I mean, I think he's really good at what he does, and I think he does a great job of scheming to his strengths and kind of covering up his weaknesses. But when they've had to just try to get the quarterback, when teams have started having success throwing the ball, you know, and they just say, okay, well, the guys up front are going to have to get there. They don't get there. They're a defense that's built to stop the pass. They'll tell you the first thing they do every week, and I'm sure it is to, you know, work on the run and how are we going to stop the run. But the defense is built to stop the pass. I mean, they firmly believe in, okay, you may average 5 yards a carry, but 5 yards a carry isn't 5, 5, 5, 5. 5 yards a carry is 11, 1, 2. And they're counting on at some point you'll put together back-to-back carries that leave you at 3rd and 7, and then that's when they go to work. That's when he can blitz and get after you. So that's why if I were the Broncos, I would want to consistently make sure that, you know, Bo Nix is in a third down situation where he has the run as one of the options. I'd also be ready to go on 4th down. The Chiefs have been, I think teams are like 4 of 17, something like that on 4th down against the Chiefs. They've been very effective at that. And so when they, you know, feel like they know what you're going to do, he's got a good plan for it, even if you're going to run the ball. But their run defense has been leaky at times. James Cook went for 100 yards against the Chiefs. That was the first time they'd given up a 100-yard rusher in, like, you know, a couple of years as well. So, you know, there was a lot put on tape by the Buffalo Bills that I'm sure that the Broncos will try to emulate. The question is, do they have the personnel? I think they've got the offensive line, but there's still going to be times where even if you're running effectively, you do have 3rd and 8, and your quarterback's going to have to go get you a 1st down so you can get back to handing the football off. And that's something the Chiefs couldn't really do last week. I mean, they were running the ball fairly effectively, but, you know, they were 3 of 12 on 3rd down, and so they kept having to give the ball back to Buffalo. So I think that'll be a big key, you know, for the Bills, is to stay out of long 3rd down distances.
Final few minutes with Seren Petro of Chiefs Radio WHB. What will the loss or the absence of Isaiah Pacheco mean to this KC offense today?
It'll mean more Kareem Hunt, and Hunt has been running more effectively. He was averaged 4.5 yards a carry against the Bills, but again, they couldn't keep the offense on the field to maybe get a little bit deeper. I think they will really try to run the football. They don't want to be, you know, same thing I said about, you know, no team wants 3rd and 11. That's no one's game plan. But I think they know how lethal the Broncos pass rush is, and I think they also know that they don't think Denver can get to 27 points on them. So I think that they'll be, you know, a little bit more patient in that. So Kareem Hunt will be the lead guy on that. You'll see a little bit of Rashard Smith, but frankly, he couldn't break my tackle. I mean, he was a 7th-round pick for a reason. They've already talked about him getting into the weight room. I mean, and the Chiefs say nothing about anything critical. But so when they say he needs to get in the weight room, they're sending a message to him through us and the media, like, "Hey, kid, let's go." But he's fast. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's what he can do. But it's going to have to be Kareem Hunt. But listen, it's Andy Reid. I mean, you could put one man in the box, and he's still going to think he can throw. So they'll throw the football plenty, but I think they are going to have to be effective running the ball, because that's really, you know, one of the things we've talked about a lot is, you know, is Andy Reid getting passed by Sean McVay? Like, everyone, you know, wants to say he's a genius. Well, then if you've got the best quarterback and you're a genius, and you've got the most expensive offensive line, and you've got receivers that were all drafted in the 1st or 2nd round, or you gave free agent contracts to, you got the most expensive tight end in football, there's no excuse to not be great offensively. Something has to not be working. And I think one of the things that, you know, does Patrick Mahomes not like getting under center? Because that's what a lot of teams are doing. Everybody goes into the nickel and dime, and they put, you know, the Chiefs have faced like the least number of heavy boxes in the league, yet they're still not very good running the ball. Well, at some point you got to look in the mirror and go, maybe we should do what the Rams are doing. Maybe we should get under center. Maybe we should get a little bit more power in our run game and not make every running play an RPO or a glorified draw, you know, out of the shotgun. Let's give our running back a head start. Let's let him run towards the line of scrimmage at the snap instead of just standing there waiting for Patrick to hand him the ball and then trying to get some momentum going. So, you know, they come off a bye. Andy Reid is 22-4 off the byes. They clearly do a great job of self-scouting. I think they'll they'll have a fresh game plan, and I'll be really interested to see if part of that is to come out and try to use that offensive line and use Kareem Hunt with some power running.
Yeah, I mean, again, you see this team week in and week out. 121 yards per game rushing for the Chiefs wouldn't suggest to me that they've had trouble running the football. But are you alluding to sort of how they go about getting there?
Yes, and you're right, and I've pointed that out, that they are shockingly on pace for the first time since 2015 to reach 2,000 yards rushing. Like, everybody had them trading for Breece Hall at the trade deadline, and they apparently offered a fourth-round pick, which wasn't enough to try to get him. They had interest. They know they could improve the running back position. What I would ask you to do is look at the rushing statistics next to Patrick Mahomes' name. And a lot of those rushing numbers are up there because Patrick Mahomes scoots for first downs. And early in the year, he was running for 50, 60 yards. He was on a 1,000-yard pace through like 3 or 4 games. Now, it's just 3 or 4 games, but that's where a lot of those running numbers come from. When you hand the football to the running backs, they end up grading down towards the bottom of the league. So there is rushing yards, but a lot of that has come from ways that, and they also do a pretty good job at the jet sweeps and the reverses and those kind of things to their receivers. They get some credit for some rushing yards sometimes when Mahomes is throwing the bubble screen and it's technically backwards, and so it goes as a rush as opposed to an actual throw. But in just like, hey, we're going to ground and pound, we're going to run with the running backs, those numbers don't really tell the whole story.
Yeah, interesting. Who do you like today, Soren?
I do like the Chiefs. I think it's one that, because I do think that they have solved a lot of their offensive problems, and I think with the bye week, they'll have some answers. Everybody here is lamenting that, the NFL, always has it in for the Chiefs with the schedule. Had to play on 6 different days last year, including a 3-day turnaround or whatever, playing a Wednesday game on Christmas Day. And here we go. The Chiefs get a bye, but they give the Broncos a half bye beforehand. And, the Bills had to play the Bills coming off a Monday night game and go travel there. So there's some whining about that from the fans here, but I think there's no excuses. Look, they have to win this game if they're going to win the division. I have the Broncos going 12-5, and that's with the Chiefs sweeping them. Like, their schedule is one that, there's just not that many more losses if it's not the Chiefs putting the losses on the Denver Broncos. So there should be a sense of urgency from this team. I'll be frank, I didn't really sense that in the way they were answering the questions I was throwing at them. They talk about one game at a time, no game's more important than the other. Well, this one is, because if you don't win this one, if you win this one, you can talk 12-5, maybe even dream a dream and say 13-4 and the number 1 overall seed and a 10th straight AFC West title. If you don't win this, you need to look in the mirror and go, we're a 500 team. We're 5-5. And we think we're pretty good, but every time we're asked to prove it, we don't prove it. So I think this is a really important game. I think their psyche will take a real hit if they don't come into Denver and win this game. So I expect them to come out. I expect them to have some new things that the Broncos haven't seen. My pick on this game was Chiefs 24, Broncos 13.
Interesting. Soren, great stuff as always. We appreciate the time. Thank you.
Always my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, Soren Petro, WHB, Chiefs Radio, 24-13. I knew he'd pick the Chiefs. Really respect Soren. He does a great job. I think he's fair. I think he's on point a lot of times, and it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds, Sean, because there was obviously a lot there. We covered a lot and wanted to have him on for a little bit longer because there's a lot riding on this game, and you heard Soren right there at the end allude to that. We started this hour and even the show in talking about the stakes of this game, and it's easy to say it is the biggest game for the Broncos in 10 years. And we had someone on the RamosLaw.com text line say, well, I remember a game when wasn't Fangio's team 3-0 with Flacco or whoever, having trouble recollecting. But no, this is different.
Yeah, there's different set of marbles on the table today.
This is different now. The Broncos are back in the conversation of being a good team, and yet I think observers in Broncos country and nationally feel there's things to prove because of the way they've played offensively, which is absolutely fair in my mind. And yet, as you heard Soren say, there's things for the Chiefs to prove too, because this is a team that, is on the verge of being 5-5 if they don't win this game. And you can say, well, we should be able to go into Denver and outscore the Broncos.
Yeah, not so fast.
I agree with that. And I agree with your point of not so fast.
Not so fast.
Because this Broncos defense, let me put it this way. When the Broncos went to Arrowhead last year and lost 17-16 on the Alex Forsythe bobble and bungle on the field goal that got blocked. The fact that the Broncos were able to hold the Chiefs down like they did on the road, and the fact that Bo was able to engineer a drive in the final 4 to 6 minutes to put them in position, that was a statement to me. That was a statement to me. Now, I'll acknowledge, and we've talked about it both on this show, we've talked about it on Denver Sports Tonight, we've talked about it on postgame, that I still believe there's much better football in the Broncos' offensive tank. At some point, you've got to prove it. You've got to play better consistently for a bigger chunk of the game. I still believe it's in there. This is a Broncos team that is on the rise. And I will say, Sean, I believe the Broncos are looking at this challenge and saying, let's go. We are not afraid of it. Healthy respect for the Chiefs. Same thing that Soren said about the Chiefs' perspective on the Broncos. Healthy respect. I think this is a Broncos team that is going, we want this challenge. Yes, we'll miss Surtain. Yes, we'll miss Singleton. Yes, we'll miss Dobbins. Let's go. Let's go get the job done. And from that standpoint, I don't see the Broncos being fearful, intimidated, or in any way like hesitant about believing they can match up with the Chiefs.
No, the Denver Broncos are in the locker room today. They're coming in, they're getting their breakfast, they're ready, and they're thinking this is a division matchup and a division opponent. You don't need any bulletin board material. You're already juiced up to the gills with energy, ready to play football. And so when the pride is on the line, I don't think that there's any better motivator than knowing that you have to come in and you have to play with your hair on fire and the house's money. When you're playing with the house's money, everything goes right.
Such a great opportunity for the Broncos. X factors for Denver on offense and defense next on Denver Gameday.
Can the Broncos move the ball on the ground without J.K. Dobbins? Should Vance Joseph dial up the pressure against Patrick Mahomes? We'll break it all down on the Fan Football Pregame Show, live on Game Day starting at noon. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Spine One. Let me ask you a question. You live with back pain, neck pain. Well, my guys at Spine One, they're an emergency room for back pain with same-day appointments. They'll see you and they'll get the journey started. And that's exactly what I did. Whether it's chronic pain, acute pain, work-related, sports-related, doesn't matter. All you got to do is pick up the phone and start your journey just like I did toward pain-free. 303-367-2225. That's 303-367-BACK. Or as always, you can find them online at SpineOne.com.
This is Rob Wilhite of the Wilhite Law Firm. If you've been injured in an accident, you want Wilhite. Colorado drivers know that when they're hit, we hit back harder. Get your free case review right now. Just call 303-GOOD-LAW today or visit WilhiteWins.com and win big with Wilhite.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Durable coverage, it starts at the top.
Hey guys, Mark Allman here, owner of Colorado Preferred Roofing, with a bit of advice. Wherever you are on the Front Range, routine inspection of your roof is a must. High winds, blistering sun, and hail really do a number on your roof. So be proactive. Schedule your free inspection at ColoradoPreferredRoofing.com. We're never too busy to help protect what matters most.
Durable coverage, it starts at the top.
Colorado Preferred Roofing.
What a wonderful time for family and friends, reflection, and planning forward. It's holiday time. Hi, Dan Cicchini, Done Right Home Improvements. Thinking of putting off that home makeover till after the holidays? Well, good, because opportunity is knocking. We'll help you plan forward with 16% holiday savings on your project or a great financing special to book now for installation after the festivities. Now is the time to get started. Todd?
You bet. First-class kitchen updates with our own custom-built cabinets or Done Right's unique cabinet refacing, elegant bathrooms, top-notch basement finishing, and the finest in replacement windows and doors. Our family's been serving Colorado for decades, and we'd love to serve you too. Call and book your project now to secure your 16% savings or a great financing special.
Thanks, Todd. Kitchens, baths, counters, and floors, finished basements, windows, and doors. You have our word, we'll treat you right at Done Right. 303-722-2295 or drhi.com.
Hey, Stokely here, and let me tell you, fall golf is the best golf Colorado has to offer, and it's not too late to get fully dialed in for the last few months of the season. At Embers Golf in Westminster, they're not just selling golf clubs, they're crafting a journey for golf lovers like you. It's a boutique-style shop, family-owned, with 2 hitting bays, all the major brands, and fully upgraded custom shafts. Come in for a full bag fitting. Trust me, there's nothing else like it around. Embers Golf, where your golf journey begins.
Football is here, and Fitness Gallery's fall football sale is your playbook for a winning home gym. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit any of our 7 stores from Denver to Fort Collins and score big before the sale ends.
Getting you set for today's game. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Gameday, powered by CommonSpirit Health, official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos.
Mike and Sean on Denver Gameday. As we are bringing you up till 12 noon, we'll pass the baton to John Davis and Kyle Reese, who are at Mile High Station downtown, and they will take you up to kickoff. Broncos and Chiefs at 2:25 today at Empower Field. It seems like as this year has gone on, Sean, every game, the anticipation for me personally, I've looked forward to more and more, none more so than today's big matchup against the Chiefs. If you want to weigh in on the RamosLaw.com text line, we invite you to do so. 303-713-1043. We're talking X factors. Who are the guys on offense and defense that will make the difference today for the Denver Broncos? And we'd love to get yours, or just generally. We've covered a lot of ground in breaking down this matchup. Good thoughts from Seren Petro of WHB a little bit earlier. Let's start with the Broncos offense. Sean, who is your X factor for Denver today?
I hate to do this. This is like I think this might be a little repetitive, but I think that if you look at it in its totality, it's going to make the most sense. And, I mean, it's why he gets paid the big bucks to do what he does, right? And that's Bo Nix. In this moment, we need to see his accuracy and his decision-making be like on another level. Like, I want to ask you, Mike, does he have like those intangibles to be able to shoot it out with Pat Mahomes in case this gets into a shootout?
Yeah.
I know you said this was going to be a low-scoring affair.
Right. I still believe it'll be lower scoring. I don't think the Broncos have any interest in making it a shootout or wanting it to be a shootout. I think that's a moth flying a little bit too close to the flame for the Broncos' liking, certainly for my liking, and I wouldn't anticipate that. Do I think the Broncos believe they can be more productive offensively? Yes, I do believe that. And do I think Sean is going to take some chances down the field? Do I think he's going to try to get Cortland involved more? Do I think that there will be plenty of passing? Yes. Do I think he's going to abandon the running game because J.K. Dobbins is out? No, I don't. Do I think R.J. Harvey's going to get his opportunities? I do. Sean Payton believes in Bo Nix. And I keep reminding myself of this because he keeps saying it. And when I then look at a matchup like this, I tend to think, man, can Bo deliver? Sean believes Bo can deliver. Now, we all know that Bo needs to play better. There hasn't been the production I think that anybody would like, including Bo. But to think that Sean is going to severely put the handcuffs on Bo Nix because he's afraid that Bo won't be able to deliver, I just think is a fool's errand. I don't think that's how Sean Payton thinks, and I don't think that's how he's going to devise his game plan. All of that said, though, Bo needs to play better today. I completely agree with you, Sean.
Well, I want to like spider web off of that a little bit, right? And I want to go in the direction of, can Bo Nix get his weapons involved outside of Sutton and Franklin? So you just said Mims is coming back from injury.
Yep.
Can you get him to transition back into making those explosive plays that are gadget plays? Does that open up that big play call sheet a little bit more for Coach Payton to be able to put Bo Nix in successful situations? Because that's what it's going to come down to.
Well, I think he needs to get Cortland Sutton involved more. I mean, Court has 66 targets through 10 games, and that's second to Franklin's 73. Sutton with 41 catches, Franklin with one more than that for the team lead. I think Cortland Sutton needs to come to the fore today. I also think the Chiefs know that without J.K. Dobbins, there's been a connection between Bo and Cortland early on in Bo's career. I think that's fair to say. I still would like to see the targets go up for Cortland, but it also has to come within the flow of the offense. I mean, it's sort of that give and take. You can't force it, but on the other hand, every now and then maybe you just force it to Court because he's that good on 50-50 balls especially. I'm gonna shake this up a little bit, and in my X factor offensively, I'm going Evan Engram for the Broncos for a couple of reasons. And Saran, in our conversation with him, mentioned how the Chiefs have had trouble with tight ends, and I think Engram has the ability to at least make the Chiefs pay attention to him, even though the numbers haven't been eye-popping by any stretch. 28 catches through 9 games for Engram. 3 per game. I'd like to see that bump up to 5 or 6 today, and I think Engram certainly has the ability to do that. But without their main running back in J.K. Dobbins, I do think Harvey's going to get his touches. But I think with the idea of the Broncos using ball control out of the passing game, or potentially doing so today, I think Engram becomes a viable option in that. There have been some cases where Bo has flat out missed Engram. There have been some cases where Engram has dropped a pass or two, maybe a couple more than a pass or two. I think there's more in there for Engram, and I think there's more in there in an opportunity like today when Dobbins is out. And even though, as Seren was telling us, this Chiefs defense hasn't been a brick wall against the run, I do think the Broncos are going to – I agree that the Broncos are going to try and run the ball. I also think Sean is going to try and incorporate the short passing game, maybe a little more than we've seen. And I think Engram could be a part of that.
Well, and see, you take Engram and you put him on, let's say, a linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not familiar with whom is in that linebacker room over there with the Kansas City Chiefs right now. That is dynamic, that's name popped out, and you have name recognition there. And when you have that as a question mark in Sean's brain, well, and I'm talking Sean Boyd's brain, right, that means that a guy like Evan Engram should be able to play a little bit looser, a little bit more like confident that he can make those plays in space against the linebackers. The safeties, they can come up and they may be able to guard, but if you're getting Evan Engram the ball quick and you're getting the ball out of Bo Nix's hands like that Peyton Manning, Tom Brady type of way, where it's out of your hands in three seconds or less. He's got to get rid of the ball.
RamosLaw.com text line from the 2322. The X factor is Sean, meaning Sean Payton.
Right.
Can he get out of his own way? I mean, maybe that's the case. Maybe it's the case. So you've got Bo as your Broncos X factor.
I have no choice.
Okay, that's fair. If that's you know what? If that's
he's got the green dot on his head.
There you go.
On his helmet, and guess what? That comes with a great responsibility because he has to know where 21 other players are on the field at all times, and Steve Spagnuolo is going to be sending a different, variation of schemes at him, just the same way Coach Vance Joseph sent schemes at Dak Prescott that confused him.
Yep. And then defensively, my X factor, and I alluded to it earlier, in large part because of the tight end position, is Dre Greenlaw for the Broncos. That inside linebacker spot, I think, is big, and I think it'll be big in trying to at least match up and give the Broncos a chance against Travis Kelce. Again, while Kelce might not be quite the player he was a few years ago, he's still pretty darn good, and he's plenty dangerous. And we know the Broncos, he's given a lot of teams fits. That's because he's a great tight end. Great tight ends are matchup nightmares. And I think Dre Greenlaw, even with Singleton's absence, in other words, the Broncos are missing a really good inside linebacker. I'm not sure I would put Singleton on Kelce, but I'd put Greenlaw on Kelce. And I'm going to be interested to see how much Vance Joseph decides to do that. And I don't think it'll be just one guy trying to cover Kelce the whole game and trying to watch what Kelce's doing. I think we could see Hufanga potentially
that's a big matchup right there.
Take that role because he's physical enough,
yes.
and I think he could stay with them in the athletic department and in the speed department, I think, anyway.
Well, he likes to hit, too.
Yeah, he does.
He's playing downhill.
He absolutely he does. But having a healthy Dre Greenlaw, that's big for VJ, especially in that matchup against Kelce, and Dre Greenlaw's my X factor on defense for the Broncos.
So my X factor is a little bit it's on another level of the defense, right? It's on that first level, the trenches. It's the game is won and lost in the trenches. Obviously, Nick Benito, he's leading the team in sacks. He has a high total of, I believe, 8.5 sacks already on the season. So my X factor is not going to be Nick Benito. It's going to be John Franklin Myers.
Ooh,
number
JFM.
0. That guy, right, has to be the beneficiary of Nick Benito putting constant pressure on the offensive tackles for the Kansas City Chiefs, which we've all seen throughout the season. They're no strangers to penalties for false starts, not lining up correctly, illegal motions, illegal formations. I think that Coach Andy Reid kind of gets a little bit too tricky with the play calls, and that almost puts his tackles in situations where they don't even know what the snap count is to a degree because they're jumping. So if you're John Franklin Myers or if you're Nick Benito, which I think, Franklin Myers is going to be the guy that steals the shine today because Nick Benito's pressure is going to be coming from one side, number 0 is going to be coming from the other side, and they're going to collapse in the pocket.
Couple of statistical matchups that, if you will, or statistical some numbers to watch. The first one is turnover margin. The Broncos are -4. The Chiefs are +4. It's a big difference. And everybody knows how big turnovers are. And we had someone on the RamosLaw.com text line, the only way the Broncos are going to win today is if they force 4 turnovers.
Yeah, he drank some Kool-Aid.
Well, Chiefs fans are kind of everywhere. They come out of the woodwork, which I get. I love it. But in all seriousness, it would be nice to see the Broncos bump that takeaway number up a little bit. 8 takeaways in 10 games. If I were to pick one area where I'd like to see the defense improve, that would be the one. Is to
play stingy.
Is to actually take the ball away. Now, the sack number, you could make the case that a sack, and the Broncos not quite 50%, but they're approaching 50%, I believe. 40 to 50% of their sacks are on third down. So in a sense, you can make the case that those are not only drive killers, but in some cases it gets the offense off the field for sure. But it's not the same as a turnover. And we saw the impact of that in the Giants game when Justin Sternad had the pick that ended up being right at the red zone, and that helped was the play in really helping the Broncos overcome that big deficit. So turnovers, huge. The other interesting number is the third down efficiency. Offensively, Kansas City converts at a 41.5% rate. Some of that is, as Soren mentioned, Mahomes and his ability to make something out of nothing, move the sticks by running the football. The Broncos defensively give up third downs at a 28% clip. Getting off the field going to be massive.
Oh, it's going down. It's going down.
It's going to be incredible.
Barbecue chicken today.
We will have our pick of the game. We asked for yours on the RamosLaw.com text line. Who gets it done? That's next.
The Fan Flyaway is back. Presented by 303 Law 4040.
Save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it.
To kick off 2026, Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan is sending you to Phoenix for the biggest party in golf.
Hey, guys, testing. Anybody there? Testing.
Airfare, hotel, tickets, and
hey, do the guys want to cross talk?
Spending money all included. First, head to thefanflyaway.com to register.
Then tune in every hour to see if your name is called.
If you hear your
Alex
name,
is going
you
to be
have
coming
10
in a
minutes
minute.
to call us back and be entered into the grand prize
We're going
drawing.
to add that camera to the live stream for the
That's
pregame show.
thefanflyaway.com. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Peyton Manning here. Throughout my football career, staying healthy was a big priority, but bumps, bruises, and injuries were part of the game. And for me, it's not just the clinical excellence and expertise that sets a medical team apart. It's also the compassion, kindness, and empathy they show. At CommonSpirit Health, healing is quality care and human kindness. And my friends at CommonSpirit are teaming up with their partners to spread human kindness and create healthy communities. CommonSpirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Zach here. The holidays will be here before you know it, and for many families, that means excitement, but also stress. Between gifts, travel, and higher prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're already relying on credit cards to cover the basics. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to my friends at American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. That's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out if you qualify. Call American Financing at 303-695-7000 or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
A lot of personal injury lawyers make claims about how good they are. But how do you know who's the best? Who will fight to get you the money you deserve? At Berg Simpson, we don't rely on simple claims like other firms. We have 27 best lawyers in America, 17 super lawyers, and we're one of the National Trial Lawyers' top 25 most influential law firms. Compare us to other firms, then call Berg Simpson.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives.
Brandon Stokely here from my team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Are you ready for winter? Worries you might need a new furnace? Don't know where to begin? Rocks Heating and Air makes it incredibly easy with their new, free, no obligation online heating and cooling quote. It takes less than 5 minutes and gives you options instantly. No calls, no waiting, and transparent pricing. Only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
It's Senior Day at Folsom Field on Saturday, November 22nd. Celebrate the Buff senior class as Colorado football takes on the reigning Big 12 champions, Arizona State. It's also the CU Athletics Hall of Fame celebration as we honor and welcome back Buffs legends. The 2025 induction class includes football greats Jeff Campbell, Mason Crosby, and Barry Remington. Grab your tickets now at cubuffs.com/tickets or call 303-492-8282.
Imagine almost every jewelry legend all under one roof.
Roberto Coin, Marco Biccigo, Ippolita, Paul Morelli, Mickey Moto, Tacori, Hearts on Fire, and dozens more, all in one store.
Imagine a diamond bar with almost every size, shape, and price range GIA diamonds.
And a Swiss watch center with all the great marks, including Longines and the legendary Tudor. I'm Dylan.
I'm Shayna Williams, inviting you to Williams Jewelers of Inglewood.
We've built one of the largest jewelry stores in America with one vision.
To be the only jeweler you will ever need.
For that perfect diamond engagement ring.
The ultimate holiday gift.
Or just because you deserve it. Williams Jewelers of Inglewood at the corner of Broadway and Bellevue.
Now, imagine their face Christmas morning.
This holiday, come to Williams Jewelers.
Where Colorado shines.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
The official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche. Williams Jewelers, where Colorado shines.
Getting you set for today's game. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Gameday. Powered by CommonSpirit Health, official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos.
Getting closer. Not quite there yet, but we are getting closer. Inching towards the Broncos and Chiefs at Empower Field at Mile High. Mike and Sean on Denver Gameday. Let's check in with John Davis and Kyle Reese. They are camped out at Mile High Station. I would imagine, John, a good crowd already gathering. Fair to say?
Yeah, everybody's really hyped. Obviously, came out today, biggest game in the Broncos' view since the AFC Championship 2015. A lot of blue and orange, not as much red as I thought. They've always come into the stadium and represented well the Chiefs, but today looks like we got them outnumbered pretty good.
All right, I want to get your thoughts from both of you on if you had to pick one area the Broncos have to, I don't necessarily think dominate, but have to fare better than Kansas City in order to win. John, what's your pick?
Today with the Broncos, it's going to be field position. That's where the Broncos have struggled quite a bit. The Chiefs don't really 3-and-out much, so they're really good at flipping the field. You can't have a game against the Chiefs where they're starting at the 40 and 50 all the time. So not so much dominate the field position today, but the Broncos have to not give the Chiefs short fields. That means don't turn it over. If you do have to punt, don't go 3-and-out. Give yourself a little bit of room. That's where I think the Broncos, if they're going to win today, that's something that has to go their way.
Kyle?
Yeah, for me, it's when the Chiefs make mistakes, because they at times can play willy-nilly with the football. You saw against Washington a couple weeks ago, they had 2 interceptions in the first half, and Washington failed to cash in on those interceptions. So when the Chiefs give you an opportunity, you have to cash in on it. So this has been a Broncos defense that hasn't generated a ton of turnovers this year, but if they get one, especially in the first half, they got to make good on it.
Yeah, I mean, John, what do you think as far as the Broncos being -4 in the turnover department? 3 fumble recoveries, 5 picks this year, 8 takeaways in 10 games. Can they improve in that department today?
Yeah, this sounds weird. I think they're going to have an opportunity to improve on it today simply because they're going to get more opportunities. One reason I think the Broncos have actually struggled to generate turnovers is the defense just sacks the quarterback all the time. There's just less opportunities for interceptions when you're sacking the quarterback and pressuring the quarterback, stopping the run. This defense is so good, they just don't leave a lot of room for turnovers for the opponent. The Chiefs are going to make plays. They're going to extend plays. There's going to be places today where the Broncos can get a turnover. Traditionally, the Broncos do get interceptions off Patrick Mahomes, and this defense is better than all those defenses that picked him off, so they're going to get that opportunity today. But like Kyle said, they've got to take advantage of it. But simply because of the opponent, the opportunity is going to be there.
This is one of those games you miss Justin Simmons.
Yeah, he picked them off all the time.
Because he just drove Patrick Mahomes crazy, low red zone, all of that stuff. So you wish you could bring him back for this game, but I'm with you. I feel like the Broncos are going to have opportunities, especially just with the style that the Chiefs play with. Again, just improvising all the time. So leave it up to Patrick to toss one the Broncos' way, and if they can make good opportunity there.
I know you guys will likely make your picks later in the Fan Football pregame show, but generally, thoughts from each of you. Kyle first, what kind of game do you expect it to be? What style, if you will?
Well, I think that's going to be dictated by the Broncos offense. And I say that because if they can stay on the field, the money down, the third down offensively, can you stay on the field and generate 1 or 2 first down per offensive series, then you can say, as John said, flip the field, play the position game, field position game. So if you can do that, you'll have a chance there. So I'm looking for that. I know you're expecting a little bit more of a high-scoring game. I'm thinking somewhere in the 20s. The over-under on this is 44.5. I think they stay under that, somewhere in the 20s, 24, 21, something like that, or right at it. I guess that would be right at it.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of with Kyle on that. I think part of this game, between Andy Reid and Sean Payton, I think there's a lot of respect there. And those are two of the most brilliant minds football's ever seen. And I think with each of them having the Broncos a mini bye, the Chiefs a regular bye, I think there's an overthinking from both coaches. I expect early on in this game to look like a big heavyweight fight where both sides are tentative. Early on, there's a big feeling out process. Things pick up a little bit more in the second half, so I'm actually hitting the under too.
All right. Guys, we look forward to the show. Thanks for the time. And we look 2.5 hours coming up. Thank you, guys.
Right on. Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right, Mike.
John and Kyle ready to go at Mile High Station. That leaves Sean and me to close out Denver Game Day with our picks. Sean, I give you the floor first. Who do you like in this one?
I thought about this long and hard. I had breakfast this morning. I twiddled my thumbs.
Man, you are really going to the play-by-play here.
I went back and forth. I even flipped a coin. The ending results was I seen the 31-24 game. I don't know who.
No, you got to make a pick, bro.
Oh my gosh!
Come on,
man!
You can't beg out. You can't ride the fence.
No, I'm not gonna ride the fence today. 31-24, Kansas City Chiefs over the Broncos.
Oh, see, you have no faith.
I said all the good things about the Broncos all day today.
You said all the good things, and then when the chips are on the table, you're pushing in on the Chiefs.
31-24 because here's the reason why, and I'm gonna leave with this: the Chiefs are 24. Excuse me. Andy Reid is 24-4 off of a bye week.
I'm picking the Broncos. I like it. I like it low scoring. As Seren used the analogy of a rock fight, I think it'll be something along those lines. 20-17. Broncos find a way to get it done. They beat the Chiefs. They go to 9-2. And man, oh man, if they can pull that off, that'd be something. The Chiefs would be 500. And I don't care what you say. You could believe you are better than that. If the Chiefs don't find a way to win, they're between a rock and a hard place. On the RamosLaw.com text line, Rob in Wheat Ridge. Rob, what are you thinking? You got to get the orange mojo juice, not the red. He picks the Chiefs 44-10.
Oh.
From the 45.99, 27-14 Broncos. So a couple of predictions. I get it. I understand why people are picking the Chiefs. I just think the Broncos are welcoming this challenge. I think they're going to be up for this challenge, and I would expect them simply to find a way to get it done.
Chiefs fall 5-5, fall 5-5, go to 500. Is the sky falling in Kansas City?
I don't care. I just would want the Broncos to be 9-2. Potentially so. Yes. Hey, special thanks, Sean. Great job. We appreciate it. John Davis, Kyle Reese at Mile High Station. If you're headed down to the game, pop in, say hello to the guys. They've got the next 2.5 hours taking you up to kickoff at 2:25. Thanks for joining us on Denver Game Day.
Will Sean Payton simplify things for Bo Nix? Without Patrick Surtain, will the Broncos secondary lock